Hey class, welcome back to another space science lesson. This lesson is called Our Tilted Earth. Our Tilted Earth, the story of our seasons. So you may have noticed the last couple days it's gotten a lot warmer. It's pretty hot over the weekend. The seasons are changing. We've noticed the seasons changing probably since you were little. Summer is the hottest time of the year, and fall it starts to cool off a little bit. The leaves start to fall from the trees, they change colors. Winter, it gets cold, it can freeze over, snow, all the leaves go away unless it's an evergreen tree. And spring, it starts to warm up again and flowers and all that. And we're right in the middle of the late part of spring, heading into summer already. Well, duh. You know all about the seasons, but why on earth do seasons happen? Well, we're going to talk about our Earth is a little tilted. The number one most common misconception, the thing that people get wrong, is that they think that the Earth physically gets closer to the sun. So it's like, oh, it's summer. The Earth must be closer to the sun because it's hotter, or it's winter. So the Earth must be further from the sun. No, it all has to do with this tilt, the tilted axis. Um, Remember, an axis is kind of like the axle of a car. It's a line. It's 2 points that run through something. So Earth is kind of tilted on its side, like this picture here with the Lego space minifigures. So this lesson is going to be in two parts, and this is part one. We're going to look at two places in the world, two very different places, and we're going to create a graph. We're going to take some data on their temperature. We're looking at, well, Sedro-Woolley and Sydney, Australia. Two very different parts of the world, right? Sedro-Woolley, our hometown here, where our elementary school is, it's in Northwest Washington State, which is in the Pacific Northwest in North America. We're fairly mild to temperate, but we can get pretty cold in the winter. Not as cold as other places. And then Australia is all the way on the other side of the world, basically. It's in the southern hemisphere. We're in the northern and western hemisphere, and they're in the southern and eastern hemisphere, all the way on the other corner. It's almost the furthest you could get from here. But we're going to look at how Australia and Sedro-Woolley could be similar or different based on some temperature data from month to month. If you notice these pictures, were both taken around the same time. So I want you to take a second and see what you notice about the pictures. Go ahead and press pause so you can take a look at these pictures and kind of analyze them. Okay, hopefully you are back from pausing and you've taken a look, and you might notice that, well, there's a bunch of Christmas stuff here. Santa Clauses along this waterway, and there's like a family in a paddle boat, and they're wearing shorts. They have life preservers, shorts, short sleeves, sunglasses. It looks really nice out. This is not what Christmas time looks like around Sedro-Woolley. It looks really sunny. Looks like they're out enjoying. This is more like what summertime would be around here. In this picture, it might be hard to tell, but you can see, well, some people wearing short sleeves, but most people wearing pants and a sweater and a fleece. It's, kind of cold, not super cold, and it's kind of wet. You can see it rained recently on the sidewalks. You can see some evidence of water there. Um, you know, so that's some evidence of what's going on there. Kind of wet weather, whether you want a sweater for. So we're going to look at these two places. So first we're going to watch this video. I'm not going to show you it on here, so I want you to go and watch it. I posted it on the assignment, so go ahead and pause this video and go watch Christmas Time in Australia and come back. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you saw this video already. We're going to go to the next part for the graph challenge. We're going to do some graphing today. So let's plot a line graph for Sedro-Woolley and Sydney. And these are the questions. I have these on a separate document, but this is what we're going to look at. What are the differences between the two locations? between Sedro-Woolley and Sydney. How does the temperature vary with the months for each location? If you're not familiar with what vary means, and with an A like that, it means how is it different, right? How would the temperature vary, like, yesterday it was almost 80 degrees compared to today. It dropped about 14 to 16 degrees. That's a pretty wild drop. So that's what vary means. How is something different? So you're going to look at the differences between Sydney and Sedro-Woolley, and which location would you rather be in January and why? This might be subjective to what you prefer, what kind of weather you like. But let's say it's January. It's January usually is the coldest month in Washington, and you're going to compare that with Australia and see where you'd rather be if you want to be on vacation. Oh, oblate spheroid. We talked about that last time. Earth is an oblate spheroid, round like a ball, but not a perfect sphere, kind of like an orange. So we're going to pause there. We're going to come back to this, and I'll show you the data that you're going to be using. So you'll use this Google document, SW, for Sedro-Woolley and Sydney, temp data, temperature data, and you have this nifty little chart right here I made you. So it has each month, January through December. This is for a year. Sometimes in school we think of school years. I even still think of that, like year starts in September and ends in August. But we're going to start with January and end in December for a full year. And the Sedro-Woolley data is here in the green. And you just go down. We have Sydney, Australia in the purple. So in January in Sedro-Woolley, they average, this is average temperature that they calculate through the whole month, is 41 degrees. And I actually rounded everything to the whole number for you, so you're not dealing with decimals. 41 degrees, and the average in Sydney is 75 degrees. So that's a pretty warm summer day, kind of like what we had last weekend. And Sedro-Woolley, 41 degrees is kind of got fairly cold, but not freezing cold. Remember, 32 is when water freezes. So days in the 30s is when it's like below freezing. So you just go through all this data, and you're going to input this in our nifty chart maker. So we got 41, 44, 48, 53. You might see the temperature getting up. May, which is the month we're in now, the average is 59. 65 in June, 70 in July, 74 in August, 69 in September, October is 54, November is 48, and December 43. So just looking at that right away, we know that August is our hottest month, and our coldest month is January. And then with Sydney, we have 75 in January, 74, 70, 66 in April, 61 in May. June is 57 degrees, July is 55, August is 58, September 62, October 66, November 68, and December 72. So in Sydney, it never really drops that much colder. Their coldest month looks like it's July, and that's 55 degrees. And their hottest month is January with an average of 75. That doesn't mean it gets hotter. It probably gets hotter than that on several days. It might get cooler than that. That's just the average. So you'll go to this website. I'll give you the link, and I'll probably have it already on line graph for you. But if it does go to this one, we're creating a line graph. We created a bar graph last time. So let's create a line graph. And I'm not going to create the whole thing because I want you to do that, but I'm going to show you how to get started. So line graph is your design. We don't care about this stuff. And then you're going to go see this little tab right here. You're going to click on data. Okay. So you're going to give a graph a title. Look, it has my information from last time. You're going to give the graph a title. So we're going to title it, let's see, we got SW for Sedro-Woolley and Sydney average AVG and temps. Okay. X-axis and Y-axis. So remember, an X-axis goes across sideways and the Y-axis goes up and down. The way I like to remember that is the Y is a lot more skinny and the X is a lot more wide. So we're going to have Our temperature running on our y-axis and our month going for the x-axis. So we're just going to put month. Y-axis is going to be, let's put average so we can be more accurate. Average temp. Okay. And we look here, we only have one group, so this is important. We're going to need to add two groups because we have two sets of data that we're graphing. So we're going to go see where groups and select two. And there it goes. Thought a little bit. Look at that. I had green and purple, the same colors I chose. You can change these as long as they're very different colors because you want to clearly see the differences. So I'm going to leave green and purple, green for Sedro-Woolley, purple for Sydney. And you want to do the group label. I'm going to label this one SW for Sedro-Woolley, and this one Sydney, Australia. There. Okay, and here's the thing, it only goes to 5, right? So our items. So again, very important because you're going to have a hard time if you don't do this. So the items, select 5, and well, how many months are in a year? 12. Okay, so you need to have 12 items in 2 groups. Again, I can't emphasize how important that is because you're going to be stuck there. So label each item, not saltwater, the months, just like I have listed there, January. And you can abbreviate just like I did in the data. I like to use all caps when I abbreviate just so it sticks up. January, February, March, April, May. And you're going to keep going. You need to keep going through all of them. I just don't want to do that going through all of them so I can save some time, okay? So I repeat, you need to do all 12 months for your graph. I'm just going to do the start. And you're going to start for each value. So just make sure you stay with the same one, right? The biggest mistake you can make is graphing Sedro-Woolley's data with Sydney or Sydney's data. So you're going to focus on 1 month. So January, I'm in the SW for Sedro-Woolley. I'm using green. And I'm going to go back to my data that I have posted for you. And January is 41 in Sedro-Woolley and 75 in Sydney. And you can do one at a time if you want. Depends how you are at memorizing stuff, or you can always just look back. You need to click from tab to tab. So I have 41, 75. Go back. 44, 74. 44, 74. Okay, go back. 48 in March and 70 in March. And I like to say it to myself, 48 and 70 as I do it, just so I don't make mistakes and I can memorize it. April, 53 and 66. 53 and 66. Obviously, you can see why I didn't do all 12 because this would take a little bit of time, and that's what you have on your hands. 59 and 61 for May. 59 and 61. Go back and double check. Yeah, looks good. Okay. And this will look different than what yours looks like because I'm only doing 5 months and you should do all 12. So let's see, we can check our labels. Nope, don't mess with that. Just go to preview. There you go. Might take a load and you can start to see my graph. Now it stops right here because look, I have space for 12 items and they're not filled in. So yours will go all the way across, and look at that. So Sedro-Woolley in green, Sydney in purple. That's just beautiful looking. You can see Sedro-Woolley in the green starts low and starts to rise. And in Sydney, Australia starts high and starts to go down low. They just about meet in the middle right there in May. So maybe we'll see them kind of cross paths there. Again, you need to make sure you do all 12 months when you put in your data. And you'll take this and you can copy image with pressing 2 fingers on your touchpad or right click, copy image, and you're going to bring that to the questions here, and you can paste your graph in this assignment down below your questions that you're going to look at. And that can also, your graph is going to help you answer those questions too. All right, guys. As always, let me know in the questions, or let me know in the Google Classroom for questions, as well as during our Zoom meetings. So have a good one. Good luck. Have some fun. All right. Bye.